Hello, this is Jen from Newton's Nook Designs. Today I'm going to be showing you how to create a beautiful birthday card that uses our filigree oval frame die set. Here's the card we're going to be creating today. I just love how that frame looks with the daisies, so pretty. Let me show you what we're going to be using. First we have our filigree oval frame die set. We're going to be using the frame from there. Then we have our Floral Delights stamp set, and we're going to be using the daisies from that stamp set. And then we have our Best Mom oval stamp set. And from there, we're only using the sentiment. So let's get started. The first thing I did was cut out that filigree oval frame die. What's cool about this die is that when you cut it out, you actually get two pieces. So on the left, you can see that beautiful frame that's filled with swirls all around the edge. And on the right, you can see the oval that you also get. Now I cut that out again a second time. So then what you could do is create two cards from this by swapping the two pieces, putting the white into the green and the green into the white. So that's a quick way to create two cards that are very similar but slightly different. Today we're going to be using the green frame with the white center so that we can stamp our sentiment into the white. I'm also going to add a little bit of ink blending in the center just to help that sentiment pop with some yellow ink. When I'm doing that ink blending, I like to test my blender on a piece of scrap paper a little bit before I go to where I'm going to finalize it, just to make sure I don't have too much or too little ink on it. And I'm adding the yellow just kind of off to the right side a little bit because that's where I'm going to put my sentiment, and the daisy is going to cover up the left side a little bit more, so I don't need as much yellow over there. Next, I'm grabbing the sentiment. I have that already mounted on my block, wishing you a beautiful birthday. And I'm just going to use some VersaFine ink and add that right over the yellow. I decided here that I had it upside down, so I just flipped it over because I thought it would look better on that side. All right, I'm just going to set that aside now while we work on the next step. Here I have that daisy image that I stamped from the Floral Delights stamp set, and I'm going to show you how I colored it. I'm going to speed it up a little bit so you get a quick look at the process. I'm starting out by doing the green. On this one, I just chose to use one shade of green, but you could definitely go in and add more if you'd like to. What I love about daisies is that they're so simple to color. All you have is the green for the leaves and the stems, and the petals can stay white, and then you just add some yellow to the centers. And on this one, I added a little bit of shadow in the middles with a little bit of gray. So here I'm finishing up the green. Next, I'm going to switch to the yellow for the center, so that's Y13. And on this one, I did go back and add a little bit of darker yellow at the end. And this is N1, like I said, just to give a little bit of shadow and dimension along the edges. And here's that Y35, just to add a little bit of fun to the centers. Now the daisies are all colored, so I'm going to cut them out, and then we're ready to assemble our card. I've got that filigree oval frame, and I've cut a piece of white cardstock that's the same size as the frame, so it's 4 by 5 1/4, and we're going to adhere those together. You'll want to use a nice fine tip glue for this because there's so many little bits and pieces, all those tiny swirls. So I'm going to go around the outer edge, and then I'm going to go in and fill out some of those swirls. You don't need to worry about getting every single one, but just kind of get some of the larger ones, some of the essential areas. And it might be a good idea to do like I'm doing here and go around that center oval too. So as you can see, I'm just kind of doing some of the larger arches. And you don't have to be perfect about it. You don't have to get every little spot. So just kind of cover the areas enough so the card stays glued together. And then you're going to layer that right back on to that white cardstock. It should fit just right. It's a little hard to get it lined up perfectly. That's the trickiest part, is just assembling these pieces together. But the liquid glue is fairly forgiving, so you can move it a little bit if you need to, and you could always use a little scissor to snip off any excess that's peeking out where it shouldn't. So that looks pretty good. So now I'm going to add in the center where the beautiful birthday sentiment is. I'm using the liquid glue again on that, but you could use a tape runner too if you prefer. I'm just going to add that right in so that it has that sentiment with a nice stitched edge. And then we're going to layer our flowers right there. I like the foam tape that comes on a roll because then you can just kind of cut it down to whatever size you need. So I'm just cutting it into some little pieces here, and then I'll just remove the liners and add it to the card. And that will give it just a nice little bit of dimension. Here I realized I didn't have it exactly where I wanted, so I was moving it over a little bit. Luckily, I hadn't pushed down too hard yet, so I was able to do that. The last step is to adhere it to your card base. Here I have a craft colored card base, and I'm just going to glue that on and center it, and now your card is done. So you can see how quick and easy it is to create a card using this new filigree die. It's so beautiful, and all you need to do is put a sentiment in the center and add an image along the side. It looks beautiful with flowers, but you could also do a character, or you could add an image into the center too. So there's lots of different options on what you could create with this, and everything is really quick and easy once all the pieces are cut out. And I did want to mention that this die also comes with that beautiful hello, and you could have just used the beautiful hello in the center instead of the sentiment. This time I wanted to create a birthday card, but that would be another way you could use the die set. That's all I have for today. I hope you enjoyed seeing how I created this card, and I hope you'll go over and check out these products in our shop. I'll list everything below, and everything I used today will be over at newtonsnookdesigns.com. And while you're here, don't forget to like and subscribe so that you can see when we have new content on our channel. Thank you so much for watching, and have a wonderful crafty day.